My name is Bryant. I'm currently a UI designer at NZT. Originally, I went through a few careers, trying out things in chefing and recruitment, but I eventually moved into the design space after studying graphic design at UB, and then eventually took a role as a UI designer within the company I was working at, Nine Spokes, and now it's kind of progressed into me being UI/UX designer. Back in school, I did design quite a lot. It was something that came naturally to me, and I studied it at school. And after school, I always found myself designing things for friends, and always having a really strong opinion on designs that I saw. So when it came to choosing a career after a few years of trying different things, I came pretty naturally. And so when I studied it, it was something that came easier to me because it was something I knew I could do. At the first company I worked at, called Nine Spokes, so it's like a fintech software company, and I was working across a lot of digital design, I guess, the elements of the business. So I was helping out with a lot of things across the board, like with presentations, like graphic design, and the web team needed some help designing notifications, so I helped out on that project. Kind of put my hand up to be like, oh, I can kind of know that program. I knew Sketch a little bit, so I just jumped across and did that. And then eventually, when the old UI designer left, I was offered a UI role within the company. And yeah, from there it was pretty natural after we got a senior developer on, or senior UI developer on, who actually mentored me through what I needed to learn, and that sort of got me to the level I'm at now. I like the variety. I think being on a project that is like finite is really satisfying to me. At least from what I'm aware of with contract roles, a lot of them at the moment seem to be from projects that are starting out or rejigging their whole process. So being a part of that process and how they work, and also being able to shape the design from the beginning, or at least from the new beginning, from a product standpoint, is really satisfying for me. And I think I also work better in that project sense. That's where I'm at now, but that could change. Tool of choice is Sketch, is the main one. Use a bit of Figma, it's good for collaborating, but Sketch is probably seems to be the fix all at the moment, and InVision for prototyping. Keep it pretty basic. I don't do any animated prototypes, so I think the biggest thing is programs that are quick to use and that people use in lots of businesses. So yeah, if you're learning programs, those two are probably the main ones. Figma, yeah. Constantly upskilling on the job. I think the biggest part of upskilling is when you talk to people in the business, like their needs and what you're trying to deliver to them. Like, for example, a developer, it helps to know bits of front end and how things work, and also how most developers work. So the upskilling kind of comes through the process that I work with. I think I also do try to stay up to date with the technologies that people are using, and also the way that they're approaching development as well. So I guess with a few industries, like with fintech, it's good to know that certain laws coming in, like GDPR and stuff, will influence the way that you design things. And also accessibility is something that most people should upskill on, because it's usually a legal requirement now to have an accessible site for most of the companies. So that's also, yeah, it's a big thing to upskill on. Just research. There's a few sites I follow, but I also like to see what well-known businesses do as well. Not just not just your usual apps like Uber and Uber Eats, Facebook, and those, but also look at sites that are similar to the ones that you're working for and just see what they're doing. And look up design pattern libraries, that always helps. I think you can gain more by relating it visually to what you know about that, what you know about the UI space, but also I think with the trends, don't follow, or I try not to follow visual trends that are like when everyone uses a gradient. I think the trends you should follow are how developers and UI businesses work together with UI designers, if that makes sense. I looked to a few sources. I had a really good mentor at my old company. He was able to push me and to show me the standard work that I should be delivering. But I also look to those around me in the business that I see doing things well. I think if I see someone executing something, I try and take parts of, well, take parts, but mimic or exude that similar approach to working. But everyone's got their own style, so I think it's just about seeing what works for you and what your brand is in terms of how you work and what you want your reputation to be. Um, Best piece of advice I ever got with any kind of design or actually work is just be interested. I think if you can show you're interested and motivated to figure something out, even if it's not something you're skilled in, people will give you a shot at it. Yeah.